Hello and welcome to Instant Transmission, a podcast where we discuss everything Dragon Ball and the pros and cons of a $30 haircut. Tonight, we're venturing back down into Jiro's secret lab as we dive into the 1992 release of Dragon Ball Z Super Android 13. Hop in your most comfortable containment pod and relax because we're going deep into another movie about another Jiro creation. I'm your host, Dayton, and once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Todd.
Hi.
And tonight's episode, we'll be covering that 1992 movie release, Dragon Ball Z Super Android 13, which was dubbed and released here in the States in 2003. And I really don't have any other cool facts. It's pretty boilerplate at this point. With all that covered, did you want to add anything before we got things started, Todd?
No, this is an easy one. I think we can jump right into this guy.
So this movie begins with actually a pretty well done scene of Jiro being beheaded and betrayed by androids 17 and 18. Did you actually notice that this scene was kind of like well put together? There's even like some blood being spilled. Like it's kind of gory in ways that is sorely missed in the regular anime.
Yeah, it's interesting because I kind of like this. It's a fully reanimated rendition of, like you said, 17 in particular here, killing Dr. Jiro. And it's kind of hard to say too if it's like if it's meant to be, is it meant to be like blood or oil because Dr. Jiro is mechanical at this point, but it has kind of like the way they color it is kind of like in between like a red and a black color for the blood or oil. So you could kind of go either way, which I like that actually.
Yeah, I thought it worked really well. I mean, I was shocked because usually, I mean, at least in our Americanized version of Dragon Ball, they go out of their way to try and make things not blood, to make things not body parts and gore. So I like that they left this in and we got to see that kind of cool blend of oil and blood just being spilled on the floor as we learn that Dr. Jiro's secret computer, even deeper in his lab, is continuing his work even after his death, which we already knew that thing existed, right? Like this has been something that's been referenced a couple times in the anime and in movies and such.
Yeah. I mean, it's been pre-established, so totally makes sense. This is a great way to set up this movie, I think, as we kind of cut past the intro and move into one of our major cities, which we don't get to see these sorts of interactions very much as we basically start with Oolong, Roshi, Krillin, and Trunks waiting in line for a beauty pageant.
Yeah, I didn't know where the scene was going because when we first got into the city, I'm like, all right, we're going to Capsule Corp. And then we cut to like an empty room with the four of them waiting in line. We find out it's a beauty pageant. And I mean, there's Roshi jokes all over this. This is, I would, for lack of better words, this is kind of dated humor at this point, but yeah, they're like talking about maybe sneaking in and spying on the girls and stuff like that. It's a kind of awkward scene.
I will say the one thing that I like about this scene and the comedy here is that we have three established perverts effectively in Oolong, Roshi, and Krillin, but to throw future Trunks into this scene and he's just like, why am I here? Is like, I really enjoyed that part of it.
Kind of that fish out of water feeling that I'm sure he was feeling.
Yes, 100%.
So we also have some more, I guess you could call mundane stuff happening as we flip over to Goku, Chi-Chi, and Gohan going out and doing some family shopping together. I mean, Chi-Chi's just loading up on stuff. She's got like 30 bags and boxes worth of clothes and different things, mostly for Gohan, it seems. And Goku's walking around just carrying just this like stack of boxes that go all the way to the ceiling.
This, man, there's so much, we'll just say dated comedy in here. There's one line where Chi-Chi is basically like fighting a bunch of other people. I think it's a bunch of women for just buying things at the store. And Goku says to Gohan, who is probably around like 9 or 10 in this sequence, Goku says, yeah, Gohan, it's like when I showed you mud wrestling on TV that one time.
Oh, God. You know what? That flew over my head. I didn't even catch that.
I was like, wait, what?
Oh, man. Just, it was an interesting time, I guess. But yes, they're all shopping. there's a lot of humor in here that hasn't aged super well. But thankfully, all this gets interrupted when the streets start just exploding with flame and smoke. And uh, the source of all this is two very odd looking characters um, who I looked up to so that way I don't have to keep hiding their names. It is Android 14, who is this kind of silvery looking, tall, shirtless, buff man with the iconic red ribbon icon on his belt buckle, the RR. And then there's Android 15, who is this kind of short, purpley-ish man with a yellow outfit and this giant green hat and a giant red bow tie that also has the red ribbon letters across it. He is a ridiculous looking little creature.
Yes, this is they're I mean blowing up buildings, destroying cars, and causing I mean truly just causing a bunch of chaos and killing people. Honestly, there's like a cool sequence of them just like a car crashing in front of them and them just walking through the metal of the car as if it were paper. Um, it feels a lot like the opening sequence or the introduction to the androids in the anime, where we first run into androids 19 and 20. Um, and there's like a pretty long lead up sequence to them entering into the same building where Goku and his family are having lunch. And then the androids put together a key blast to basically blow up the floor that Goku and his family are on.
Yeah, and thankfully the Z fighters that were there did manage to save, I'm assuming, everybody from that blast somehow. And Goku kind of takes charge at this point and orders the rest of the Z fighters to take the civilians away while he deals with these two troublemakers. And he kind of flies off a little bit as they all scatter in their different directions. And of course, the two androids chase him, and it kind of proves his suspicion that these two are specifically after him.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun visual too, as when they save the people of like Goku is just has dozens of people piled on top of him as he's like flying away from or from the wreckage and everything. Uh, and he of course tells like Gohan and Chi Chi to get the heck out of there. But this turns into a little skirmish, and Goku's basically like, "I couldn't sense your energy. Oh, you must be androids." Uh, he kind of gets like thrown into a building, and Trunks comes in and helps him out here. But they quickly realize that they are destroying a bunch of the buildings and potentially putting people in harm's way. So they're like, hey, we need to get out of here and fight somewhere else.
Yeah, so Trunks and Goku, they lead the androids off. And while they're flying off, we actually get a scene of Gohan telling Chi Chi that like he needs to go help his dad, and Chi Chi of course doesn't want it. Chi Chi's not interested in letting her little boy fly off, and he says, well, what's more important, like me and my studies and all the stuff you want me to do, or I think he says, or the life of your husband, which is a really weird way for him to put that.
It's a wild line. And we're going to talk a lot about the dub dialogue in this movie, because it is, I don't even know how to describe it. It is over the top, to say the least.
Yeah, it's not something I expected him to say, but Gohan takes that opportunity to fly off, and then Chi Chi takes her opportunity to tell Krillin to shove off and go help her son. So both of them are kind of ushered in different ways to go help Goku and Trunks fight these new opponents.
Yeah, and I hate to say it again, but throughout pretty much all of the Dragon Ball Z movies, Krillin is the butt of the joke. We kind of skipped past. He gets like coffee spilled on his head. Chi Chi like kicks him in the ass to get him to go help Gohan. And I'm pretty sure there's 3 or 4 other scenes of him just being the butt of the joke in this movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of like slapstick, like, oh, I'm slipping on the wet ground. Oh no. Look, I don't know. It's not very well. It's the expense of the character and not, with the character. It's that kind of humor. There's there's a lot to talk about in this movie.
Yeah, it's fine. But we kind of cut to a scene in Dr. Giro's lab, and he's releasing yet another android to go kill Goku. We only kind of see the silhouette of this figure, so we as the audience are left wondering like, who is this new android now?
Well, we first have to stop apparently at the North Pole to begin fighting. I don't know how they decided on this spot, but we flew from like a nice, like normal, regular climate to the North Pole. This like icy, I, I don't know, rigid terrain with nobody anywhere within a million miles of it. And the fight actually begins like pretty quick here. Like there really isn't much back and forth. And honestly, there's not really much for me to speak about in this fight. It's just kind of some scenes of Goku and Trunks just getting knocked around in a couple frames.
Yeah. One thing I will say, I actually I know there is some comedy in them flying to the North Pole or whatever the hell this is, but I do like that they are at least giving us some different scenery. I feel like these icy environments are something that we don't see frequently in Dragon Ball, so at least we're getting something a little bit visually different, which is fun. Um, this kind of quickly turns into, as Goku and Trunks are getting knocked around, the the remaining third android shows up. This is Android 13, and he shows up in his trucker hat with a very specific voice and dialogue.
Oh my god. I mean, right off the bat, he's got this tiny little vest on. He's got silver hair. He's got this trucker hat, and so I I have not seen this movie until now, but I'd seen Abridged, and it was at this point I realized that Abridged is actually not that far off from this movie because he talks like a redneck, and the first thing he says is he comments on the ass whooping that Goku's getting from dem boys, and it is wildly jarring.
I mean, again, we're talking about. I mean, this movie came out in the '90s. I think got dubbed in the early 2000s, but a lot of this stuff is very dated and probably not appropriate by today's standards. But there's one line in here that is from Android 13 saying, "Why bring out the chief when you can't even handle the Indians?"
Well, I mean, maybe you should just let bygones be bygones.
And then as they begin to start the fight, I think your reference in the opening here, Dayton, is Android 13's comment to Trunks, as Trunks is basically saying like, "You guys are killing people. We won't let you do that." And Android 13 responds with, "Don't lecture me with your $30 haircut. Goku dies."
So it's so bad, but it's so good.
It's so funny.
Oh yeah,
And
like I said, I'd seen Abridged before I'd seen this, and I had no idea how close that they actually were to the source material.
And even Trump's response to that is, "We'll see, you red ribbon redneck." Like, this is wild.
But I mean, that's a good way to start a fight, right? And we do. Trunks begins fighting Android 14 and 15 all on his own. Once again with some serious lacking animation that shows basically him losing. And not going Super Saiyan, which is already starting to bother me, right? Because they got smacked around in the city, and now they got smacked around out here once, and now they're getting smacked around out here again, and he's still not going Super Saiyan, which just instantly takes the win out of the sails of the fight. And Android 13 and City Boy Goku square off. I'm glad I got his proper title in here. And Goku's still not Super Saiyan. And just like, it's too much tease at this point because our heroes are just kind of getting smacked around in not very glamorous fashion, and they're not going Super Saiyan. It's bothering the crap out of me.
The thing that bothers me, like, Goku is the type to do this because he likes to kind of like feel out his opponent, have fun with the fight. But Trunks is a no nonsense, like, cut the bullshit. He will go Super Saiyan immediately to be like, "I'm gonna stop this fight and get this done." And he takes so much time in his base form, it drives me crazy.
His fight with Frieza. How long was his fight with Frieza? A few seconds? Like, he
Yeah.
is no nonsense. That's absolutely his style.
Yeah, almost every fight that he's in, he immediately goes Super Saiyan. His fight with Frieza, like he has a very brief exchange with Frieza and his henchmen before going Super Saiyan. His fight with the androids, anytime the androids show up, any other time he goes Super Saiyan pretty much immediately. Like it just makes me, it annoys me in this scene.
Yeah, it's really bothersome. I mean, Goku basically just gets blasted back by a key blast, and knocked down into the icy waters. Trunk tries to dive in to help, but he gets caught midway by the other two androids, and he's knocked down hard into the snowy ground. And they start, key blasting him, uh, just with like a carpet bomb of key blast. Basically, there's not really any choreography. It's just a lot of key blasts going around.
Yeah, there's not a ton to talk about as far as the fighting goes. I mean, it's fairly forgettable. I will say so Trunks made a save on Goku earlier by shooting a ki blast to like deflect one of the androids' ki blasts. That happens here.
Like I said, key blast. It's just a bunch of key blasts.
Yeah. This save though happens 3 times in this movie alone, in this 45-minute movie where they
Oh god.
like Goku's being pushed back by a ki blast or about to get hit by a ki blast, and then a comrade's ki blast deflects it another direction. So I was getting a little tired of this save happening over and over.
But do you want to know what happens next? There's a red key blast that Android 13 summons. And apparently he can control this one. I'll admit, this is a cool looking key blast. There's actually like some effort put into the animation of it. It's like you almost have like the center key sphere, and then there's like this more kind of key aura around it that like sparks with electricity. It's kind of a cool looking blast. It's nothing really special other than it seems like it tracks its target, but it is something different, and I can at least respect an effort being put into it. But yeah, what saves him from this key blast there, Todd?
A ki blast that deflects the ki blast.
But thankfully, that key blast came from one of our friends, one of our heroes. I believe this is Vegeta arriving on scene, correct?
Yeah, this is Vegeta. I kind of like his dialogue here, basically saying, "Nobody kills Kakarot except me," which is, that's fun for Vegeta's character.
Oh, we had more 13 dialogue. I'm sorry, I skipped right over it. Before he hits Goku with the ki blast, before Android 13 hits Goku with the ki blast, he stops and analyzes Goku and says, "He's plumb loco if he's meaning to catch that with his bare hands."
I love 13's dialogue in this movie. It is fantastic.
That boy's been out in the sun without his hat on for way too long.
It's so good. It is so over the top and ridiculous. And I mean, there's something funny about the fact that the people who were dubbing this are from Texas. And this has a very like southern coded accent to it. So I just enjoy it. It's very funny. They're very.
I mean,
at this point,
I kind of understand the tone of the movie we're watching. I'm having a good time. Like it's like, oh, well, I might as well just have fun with this one. And honestly, I think what they tried to do next is trying to have fun, because Android 15 and Vegeta pair off, 14 and Trunks pair off, and of course the main villain 13 and main character Goku pair off. So everyone has a dance partner at this point, that's kind of neat.
I honestly, I watch a lot of anime, and I love when shonen anime does that. When they're like, okay, we've got these bad guys that can pair up with these good guys, and they'll all get to have a fight. I love that stuff, and Dragon Ball doesn't do that enough, in my opinion.
Well, I think that's one of the best parts about like the World Martial Arts tournaments is you can kind of, it's that same idea, but you slow it down and you see the one-on-ones where they can actually explore like their opponents and really focus in on that fight. Because sometimes what happens with like all these fights happening at once is you have the entire thing is done well, but each individual thing sometimes comes off as lacking, right? Like we don't really get to see Vegeta's personality in his fight because it's one of 3 or 4 fights going on.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I'm glad that we get to focus on these kind of individual fights here a little bit. There is as Goku and 13 square off, they're Goku's still in base form. They're exchanging blows back and forth. There is a very brief cutaway that I'm going to mention because it's going to be important later as we cut back to the sub basement of Dr. Giro's lab, and it's just a screen showing Goku and Dr. Giro saying "kill," but the shot is not of Goku's face. The shot is specifically zoomed downward. We're seeing kind of like Goku's stomach, his upper legs, but really honed in on his groin region, and that's going to be important later.
God, yeah. I so wait, are you telling me that they what's the word I'm looking for? They're setting up this scene. They left some breadcrumbs for you to follow that would lead you to what's going to happen.
They have to be. This comes up like 5 minutes before the scene that we're both thinking about. It's wild.
I didn't catch that because I was just scrolling my notes real quick. I was like, does that happen right here? But I didn't realize that they were
I've got it up on my screen. I'll send you a screenshot because it is crazy to me.
Oh my God. I can't believe they alluded to this happening in the future. That's so funny. Okay.
It's hilarious.
Well, anyway, everyone's paired off. Everyone's kind of losing. No one's surprised. But thankfully, at this point, Vegeta hears me complaining about everyone not being Super Saiyan, and he decides to don the gold. And so Trunks and Goku also quickly follow suit. So finally, our Saiyans have gone Super Saiyan, and we can actually have a real fight.
This took way longer than it should have. I'm glad. I still think Trunks should have been the one to initiate it because he's so no nonsense in my mind. But if not Trunks, Vegeta is the other one who it makes sense to do it because Vegeta will not tolerate being kicked around for any period of time.
No, he'll toy with his food, but he will not be made a fool of.
Yeah, 100%. So it makes sense that Vegeta does not spend much time in base form getting beat up. And finally, we can actually see a meaningful fight. Like, we knew that they could go Super Saiyan, so the fighting before this didn't feel like it was meaningful.
Yeah, and I mean, our heroes are doing better, obviously, because they're Super Saiyan. And we see Gohan on the sideline even trying to chip it a little bit by firing a ki blast that hits 13 in the back to basically no effect. And 13 more or less turns and just fires a ki blast back to kind of swat this fly from the sky. But thankfully, guess who dives in to save our little pint-sized hero? It's Piccolo. Apparently he was just like under the ice.
I'm pretty sure this is either part 3 or 4 of a ki blast deflecting a ki blast here.
Yeah, it's kind of getting insane.
Yeah, it's like the same save over and over and over, which is a bit of a bummer. There is something funny to me about these Piccolo saving Gohan scenes in pretty much every movie. I think we mentioned it last movie, where it just happens almost every single movie. I kind of like it as almost like, I don't think it's supposed to be this, but I like it as like a running gag.
I mean, it's obviously not Goku who's going to save his own son. It's got to be as Android 13 calls him, Mean Green, who saves him.
Yeah, best dad coming in for the save.
Dude, I can't believe Android 13 called Piccolo Mean Green. Is that where all the big green jokes and stuff like that came from for a bridge? Because I wouldn't be shocked if it was.
It might play a part in it. I don't think it's the direct reason for it, but
I've had cannoned it already. It's why it happens. Yeah, it's real. But Trunks and Vegeta both finish off their dance partners with kind of very anime-esque, like dash by, like bad guy in the background kind of moves. Like, it is very kind of cliche.
I love it, especially for Trunks.
Do you? Okay, I figured you would like it. I'm like, okay, fine. It's some anime stuff, like whatever. But I like that Vegeta's what was it? Android 14 he was fighting, or 15.
15, I think.
I like that he was it seems like he lost, but then like 15's head like pops off and rolls down to his arms and then he explodes. Like, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, the reason I will say that I like it particularly for Trunks is one, he has a sword, uh,
Yes.
but two is because he, in his opening sequence when he runs into Frieza, he does stuff like this. Like he cuts the dude's armor off with his sword. He dashes through and like kills a bunch of the henchmen, and they fall over after he like sheathes his sword. Like it's very, like you said, it's kind of a cliche anime thing, but as an anime fan, I enjoy it, and also it's true to his character, so I think it's fun.
And I mean, it gives you that like that delayed victory kind of adds a little bit of suspense to the outcome, I think.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, but at this point, we've got two of the androids are defeated. They both are basically blow up. And Android 13 seems pretty pleased about this, though. And at that point, we see some of the parts from Androids 14 and 15 begin to like shake and then fly up to 13 and get absorbed into his head. Some like microchips into his head, and some power modules or something get sucked into his chest. And this begins a transformation not unlike Cell.
Yeah, it's interesting because you see all those parts enter his body, right? And then we see like his actual physical form changes. You see kind of his muscles bulge and you see his skin color change to like this weird deep bluish color, blue gray combo. His hair even turns orange, very a la 16. So we've got a bunch of different kind of references kind of going on here. But he also looks like a completely different character before because he used to look like more or less a human, but now he looks very, very alien compared to what he was.
Yeah, yeah, he almost has kind of like a, it reminds me of Blanca from Street Fighter sort of vibe to him. Um but yeah, it's very alien looking. He uh, we've talked a good bit about the movies kind of copy some stuff from the main anime, and this is almost clearly, I'm going to say, ripped off from the Cell Saga. I mean, we've got three more androids. Two of the androids get absorbed by one of the other androids and then create a super android. So this is very much Cell's story, just not as detailed, I guess.
Well, I mean, the next thing we got to do here though is we've got to have Vegeta really show you what the power measurement looks like. So he charges it into what is now, I assume, is Super Android 13. I'm guessing before it was Android 13. I think this is Super Android 13, which I will not use again after this point, but I just want to recognize it. And 13 just no sells it, right? Like Vegeta rushes in, he's throwing punches, and 13's not moving an inch, not budging. He then proceeds to grab Vegeta by the shoulders and give him what he calls his dive of death, which is just grabbing him by his arms and slamming into the ground as fast as he can.
Give him the power bomb effectively. But yeah, I mean, he also blasts Trunks away like mid dive. Piccolo runs in and tries to give him the ducka ducka ducka, but is unsuccessful. Um, yeah, I mean, pretty much everybody is getting their shit kicked in by Super Android 13. And finally, Goku runs in or flies in as Super Saiyan. 13 no sells it, and this brings us to the most important scene in this entire movie.
Yes, I'm gonna pull up the picture here just that way I can describe it in as much detail as possible. So that reference earlier that you were making towards Goku's weak spot on his crotch, we see Android 13 very deliberately lift up Goku's leg and deliver just a mega punch to the crotch of Goku. And I was able to pause it at the exact point of impact where you can see very clearly that 13's fist has entered Goku's crotch and is no longer visible due to light rays pouring out of the impact site. There are two egg-like looking things that are cracked in half flying up out of the impact location. that I can only assume are used for reproduction, or would be if they weren't cracked in half. Did I miss anything here?
I mean, we got to pause and talk about this because, like, you got the perfect screenshot of this scene, and the fact that they went out of their way to animate. I mean, it's Goku's testicles. Like, come on, like, like they animated Goku's testicles breaking in half. This is wild. So Abridged does a lot of jokes about this scene, and there's a shot that we talked about earlier of like Dr. Giro's lab and the screen showing Goku's crotch. And in Abridged, they even have Dr. Giro saying, "Weakness identified." But in this one, they show that same shot, and Giro's just saying "kill." But I thought Abridged had like created or fabricated that shot of Goku's crotch on the screen. No, I was wrong. That is actually in the movie and is set up like 5 minutes before Goku gets punched in the dick.
Yeah, I was right there with you. I was just like, all right, they probably embellished this because it kind of looked like he got punched in the wiener. I understand the gag here, but when you actually watch this, no, like it was intentional that Goku gets punched in the dick. Like they animated it. Like they showed the balls like on screen basically being shattered. What is this movie? And
This
the thing
movie's
is,
wild.
they put all this effort into showing that, and then you figure at the very least they would show Goku like bent over in pain or something like that afterwards because of that very specific event. No, he just like goes on fighting like it's any other injury. I'm just like it never happened. Like, are we not going to talk about that? Because that's all I can think about right now. Like, if you at least reference it and make it a gag or something, I move on. But you guys build up to this like dick punch. Like you have to own it now.
Yeah, the whole thing is wild to me. Like, it's one thing too, even if they just like show him get punched and you're kind of like, did he get punched in the groin? But they animate the eggs or balls or testicles, whatever you want to call them. It's very clearly two egg-shaped things cracked in half. That blows my mind. Like, you will miss it if you're just watching it. You basically have to screenshot it or freeze frame it to see that part of the animation. But it's in there. Like, somebody maybe got a laugh out of this or something. I don't know if they did it as like a secret little gag, but wild to me.
So yeah, this might be the most famous dick punch in all of anime. I'm gonna go ahead and just rest my laurels on that. I don't watch a ton of anime, but I've not heard of another one. I haven't seen a different one.
I feel like there are other ones out there, but this is the most memorable one to me. So
This is the most controversial dick punch in anime. How about that?
there you go. That's I'll give it that for sure.
But anyway, all right. I'm gonna lay to rest the the Goku dick punch and move on because I mean Goku's getting smacked around a bunch right now, right? And everyone else is kind of taking a moment to lick their wounds and take a nap in the snow or do whatever. Krillin and Gohan decide to step in as well, but their fate is pretty much the same as everyone else. They get smacked around too. Krillin even like slipping in the snow because it's kind of slippery out there. You don't want to fall over. Uh, but yeah, Goku is eventually blasted down into the frozen waters, and while he's down there taking a bath, he decides to start conjuring a spirit bomb.
Yeah, this is interesting. As he does so, the rest of our Z fighters are. Some of them are getting up. Some of them are, trying to attack Android 13, and Goku kind of comes out of the water, and I think our most of our heroes can kind of see like they recognize the spirit bomb. They know what's going on, and so they're also trying to buy time here. Vegeta goes in, basically gets his back broken. Piccolo basically full on suplexes Super 13 as he's trying to blast Goku with a ki blast. Trunks, I think he gets his sword broken here. They all fail to really do anything effective, but they buy Goku enough time to get a pretty decent spirit bomb going here, and he then transforms into Super Saiyan.
This is okay. There's a couple things for me to I want to point out because it's an interesting scene. First and foremost, I was cracking up at Jiro's supercomputer just screaming "Danger! Danger!" into Super 13's ear. Just like
Yeah.
the panic in the robot's voice was just cracking me up. Because it's very obviously a person voicing it being panicked. Uh, and I don't know, it's funny. It's just funny hearing, and it's also like in Dr. Jiro's voice, right? So
Yep.
there's I find it comical. Is it supposed to be? I don't know. I laughed at it. Uh, the other interesting thing is that the supercomputer did recognize the spirit bomb, and so it was actually trying to get 13 to stop it. He was like, "I'm familiar with this attack, and I'm not going to let you get it off," sort of thing. Like you don't have enough power. I thought that was kind of neat because Jiro's had like the little spy insects around, so he would have seen the spirit bomb used against Vegeta. He'd be familiar with the attack, sure. So, all right, there is some attention to detail there, which I do like. Um, the the part I really want to hone in on though is how the spirit bomb is used here. And it's not
Ah,
like where we've seen it before where you get the bomb and you launch it and it hits and explodes, normal spirit bomb stuff. This one's like some weird like he wears it like an aura or uses it like power or something to like supercharge his Super Saiyan form. I didn't really understand what was happening here because like he kind of like half punches 13 who's struggling to even get to him, and then 13 just sort of like starts imploding and exploding and could, what am I not understanding about this scene? Do you have any insight into this?
I mean, what you said is effectively right. What I would compare this to in my mind, and I'm kind of on record if anybody's listened to our Super coverage of saying that I don't like this scene in Super, but is when Goku is fighting against Jiren and the he throws a spirit bomb at Jiren and Jiren throws it back at Goku and Goku effectively absorbs the spirit bomb and that's how he gets into Ultra Instinct. This is very much like that to me because you see the spirit bomb kind of like getting sucked into Goku. So he's basically using it as like a power up, which is in my opinion is not how that technique should work. Um and so yeah, you can see like an aura around Goku. You see him almost like the face he's making. It looks like he's having a hard time even containing the power. Uh, but it effectively just makes him strong enough to punch Android 13 and destroy him. Uh, I'm not a big fan of the way they end this. It's a little bit more excusable because it's a movie villain, but it's not my favorite.
Well, it's just weird because like you could have just hit him with the spirit bomb and everyone would have been fine with it, but you tried doing this other weird thing. And I get that like absorbing key and gifting key is like a really weird kind of territory where like sometimes I feel like people gift key to other people and it like recovers their injuries, which is like a weird thing that you see all the time. So just the idea of absorbing other people's key or other key is just a weird territory all around.
The funny thing is that most of those instances are in the movies, which could potentially be considered non-canon. Um, and I mean, they're probably trying to, like in this instance, they're probably trying to make it like, oh, well, it's not just another spirit bomb that they blast the bad guy with. We went a different route and we used the spirit bomb in a different way. And it's like, I like techniques being used in unique ways, but I feel like drawing on the power of the planet and then just absorbing it into you to make you stronger is a boring way to use that technique. And I feel like that I don't feel like it should be able to do that. I feel like that makes the spirit bomb technique too powerful in a way that's not exciting at all.
Yeah, and I think generally speaking, the Dragon Ball fandom, myself included, rule of cool usually comes first. So if you just did something cool with this, I'd probably be a little bit more hand wavy with it. But I don't think what they did was necessarily cool. It was more confusing. So I do have those questions. Like, uh, if you want to use the instant transmission combined with the Kamehameha, okay, like I do have some questions. Like, don't you have to have like the finger on the forehead, or don't you have to be focusing on like a location? Well, how are you doing that? And whatever, all that goes out of the way because what you did was cool, right? Um, I think a lot of the questions I have with this go away if it would have been something cool, or I'm like, all right, like, sure, does it make all like that much sense? Not really, but it was cool, so whatever. And I mean, thankfully, it is just a movie, so it's kind of not really canon, so it doesn't really matter that he did this. But like, I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna try and do something new, at least try and do something kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all of that. I there's a part of me that likes that they were trying to do something different, but I don't feel like I feel like they missed the mark on this one.
I feel like they didn't do anything really here. Like this didn't feel like anything at all. It just I was kind of confused watching him. Like, is his aura that's killing him? Like, is this actually an attack that he's using, like emanating from him? I, I didn't know what to think about it because I didn't know what was actually like what was the mechanism that was actually killing 13.
Yeah, it feels a little bit confusing, generally, genuinely.
You want more confusing?
Let's hear it.
The rest of this movie where they wake up afterwards after the defeat of 13 with the confusion bomb. They wake up floating around in a big chunk of ice, and there's like some awkward humor that happens, and then suddenly they're at the hospital, and there's some more awkward humor. And then we cut back to the ice where Piccolo and Vegeta are sitting on like the smaller piece of ice floating around in assumably the ocean. And Piccolo asks, "Is it over?" And Vegeta says, "Not until the fish jumps." And then a fish jumps, and then Vegeta says, "It's over." And that's the end of the movie.
I'm not gonna lie, I really love this. It's like it's weird. It almost feels out of place. Like it's kind of breaking uh the the fourth wall. Which you don't normally get that in Dragon Ball. I think you get it a little bit in the Buu saga when Gohan is like talking to the audience. Uh, but this is one of the very few times that we actually see this, and I like it. I think it's fun. It's fun to do in a movie where it's like it's kind of inconsequential, and it's fun to see it done with Piccolo and Vegeta of all people.
Yeah, two people that you wouldn't expect to be a part of a joke pretty much ever.
Yes, exactly. Like the two most serious characters in the entire show, and they're the ones kind of breaking the fourth wall here. Um, so I was a fan of this. Some people might not like it, but I liked it.
It didn't bother me, but like it's so weird because the movie ends and I sit here for a second thinking, I don't know what the hell I just watched. Uh this entire movie is so different from every other Dragon Ball movie because
Yeah.
like the dialogue is wild and weird, and I believe this is the first one where we aren't using like the 90s two or not, yeah, like 90s 2000s like alternative rock, right? Like we're not using that anymore. All this was more normal music. Um at least from what I remember, it's not as in my face. Like it's weird when a fight starts and some 41 starts playing. That didn't happen in here really.
Yeah, this movie did not have that music, or at least the version apparently the version that both you and I watched, which I think was probably the same. The I will say I didn't bring it up much, but the I don't think that this music so we watched the dub. I don't think that this music was. It certainly wasn't the original music from the Japanese score. I also don't think it was the music that was originally released with the dub in
Really.
America. Uh, I believe, but it is really bad. um,
I didn't remember it, but I did remember it not being like pop music.
yeah. I'll be honest. I'd almost take like the 90s rock music over what we got in this one. The only beat that I liked is there's like a little sequence when our Saiyans transform into Super Saiyan that's like a fun, memorable couple of notes. But everything else, like when the androids show up in the very beginning of the movie, it's like this weird like it sounds like the intro for like a 90s bad guy in a video game, but it's very like laid back, and it's while Goku is fighting the androids, so it's like a really weird spot to even have that music. And then the rest of the movie is like either forgettable or actually offensive music. Like it's just not, doesn't fit well.
Yeah, and I mean, there are so many like moments in Dragon Ball where they actually take like the scene and turn down its volume and let the music carry you through to like a big moment. And I love it when Dragon Ball does that. Usually they actually do a pretty good job, and I don't remember that happening at all in this.
No, no, the Super Saiyan transformation was like the only little jingle that I was like, it was memorable. Everything else was not good. But
The dialogue was memorable. I'm never gonna forget the dialogue in this because there's not a movie like it.
I I don't know how everybody will feel about the dialogue for this one. I love it. I think it's hilarious. Um
Really funny.
like Dayton and I were talking before recording that, well, I think I mentioned to you, Dayton, that some people will see clips from this movie. Like, I think specifically that $30 haircut line has been posted as a clip online, like, 10, 20 years after the release of this movie. And people are like, oh, yeah, that's dialogue from DBZ Abridged. And people are like, no, this is the official dub for this movie. And people are like, no.
Actually, reminds me, the one day we were talking, and you reintroduced me to Mondo Cool and how hilarious that was.
Yeah, yeah. Krillin and Vegeta's Mondo Cool in the
The
original
Vegeta part is
dub.
what sells it, where he's like, "Yeah, that's right, boys, Mondo
Mon-
Cool."
yeah.
It's so good.
The man, if you go back and like, we both grew up on the original Dragon Ball Z dub, the Funimation dub. If you go back and listen to some of the lines, some of them are funny and they're not meant to be funny.
Hey, you got almost 300 episodes that you got to dub over, man. You got to make some compromises somewhere. Not every line's going to be a banger, all right?
It's true. I don't know if it's better that they weren't meant to be funny or worse, but some of them are. This movie, I feel like they had to just have fun with this movie. This one actually has some stuff that I'm like, they had to write that intentionally. That had to be an intentional joke.
Well, I mean, if anything, that breaking of the fourth wall at the end has to tell you that they were trying to be a little cheeky at the bare minimum.
I'm actually curious on that one. I think that one at the end is in the sub version, the original Japanese. I could be wrong about that, but there's a lot in this one that I'm like, I think the dub took a lot of liberties in this one, in a good way.
I mean, honestly, like even though the fighting is almost completely unremarkable in this,
Yeah,
but there is some fun with the dialogue. And I mean, I'm gonna be quoting this movie going into the future. I can't say that about the rest of the Dragon Ball movies up to this point.
that's a good point. And yeah, I think the highlight in the fighting of this movie was Goku getting punched in the dick, which I will never forget.
I'm sure it was his highlight too.
Yeah, the rest of the fighting in this is very forgettable. I think I liked the Trunks anime, you know, after death thing, but I'm drawing a blank on anything else that's like fun and remarkable.
Nah, it's all dialogue for me. All of it. Just, I mean, Android 13 is a gem. Protect him at all costs.
if, if the dialogue weren't what it was in this movie, I would have been bored to tears. Like,
You're absolutely right. The dialogue actually did carry like a lot of my entertainment for this one because the story is obviously not compelling, right? It's a carbon copy of what we already have in the anime, pretty much. And the fighting's not that great, and like there's no character development. It's not like anyone
no.
learns anything by the end of this. So it's the dialogue is what makes this actually kind of not a terrible watch.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. Like I was actually entertained.
Yeah. Yeah, I would watch this again just for the dialogue, just to laugh about it. If it weren't for that, like there's not this movie doesn't have a lot going for it. outside of the dialogue raises this movie up in my, like, if I had to rank the movies, this one is.
Hey, maybe that's an idea. Once we get through all the original Z movies, maybe we go through and we rank that up.
That will probably be in our podcasting future, but I can tell you right now that the dialogue will elevate this one in my mind for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, that's about all I got to say about this one, though. Because I don't think there's actually a whole lot else to talk about.
No, I think we covered the main beats. Not great in terms of fighting. Story is really forgettable. Dialogue, A plus.
It's a gem. It's a gem. And I mean, it's not like the fighting is that big of a step down compared to a chunk of the other Z movies either, right? Like it's the other ones at least usually have like a couple moments here or there that are pretty neat. I don't even know if this one has one for me.
Dick punch. That's all I got.
Dick punch. It's all the budget was in the dick punch.
Uh-huh. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got. You said you're pretty much finished, Dayton?
I am all set. I have talked that dick punch off a cliff at this point.
Well, in that case, don't forget we're on Patreon and Discord. If you want to help protect us from any future dick punches, you can find us at patreon.com/itdbpodcast. The Discord link will be in the episode description, but you can also find it and all of our other links at linktree/itdbpodcast. Thank you all so much for your support. Be sure to join us next time as we spend hours at the character creation screen in our Build Your Fighter episode. Dayton and I are going to select 3 techniques from the Dragon Ball universe and build out our fighting style so that we can take on the likes of Frieza, Cell, and Majin Buu. Or maybe just stop Oolong from wishing for panties again. Will we both be rocking the Kamehameha? Or will the Wolf Fang Fist be the underdog best technique? Does Super Saiyan count as a technique? Find out next time. And to all our fellow Dragon Ball fans, stay safe out there and remember to keep rocking the dragon.
I would love to do a like Android 13 cosplay and then hunt around at like cons for other people playing Goku and be like, "Hey, what's up?
Hey, do you want to do the scene?
You want to do the scene? You know the scene. You know the scene.
You know the scene."